Final Fights. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who just got done with a vigorous run on the beach. It's Chris Kelly.
Hey, everybody.
Yep, so Chris and I went out for our morning jog on the beach, and he just started sprinting, then I started sprinting, and since neither of us are Apollo or Rocky, Chris rolled his ankle on a seashell, and then I stepped on a jellyfish, and then I stepped on a shell, and then we only ran about, 30 feet combined, would you say?
Well, it depends on if you're talking about it whenever you threw the jellyfish at me.
Yeah.
I then had to backtrack another 10 feet, and then
we had to go to the hospital.
And then that was an extra 70 feet.
That thing got right on your back and just latched itself to you.
It's the damnedest things. They move so sluggishly whenever they're on land until they see a human, and then they're just on you like a pack of wolves on a three-legged cat.
It took over your body. It basically used you as a marionette, and you were just running around the beach being controlled.
I'm actually a jellyfish right now. I'm importing a bunch of seawater, so in about 30 minutes, I'm going to have to cut this short.
You're in your bathtub right now recording this. You're getting the guys from that TV show Tank just to build a full tank in your place. Your neighbors will hate it.
The neighbors hate it, but, I pay my HOA fees just like everybody else.
So I'm going to call you Chris Jellyfish Kelly.
Rolls right off the tongue.
So the reason... Man, it's so fluid. The reason that we're discussing this is so you and I have already talked about Rocky 1 and 2 on the Final Fights podcast. And so naturally you came back for 3. And what I'm talking about is, so Rocky fights Clubber Lang in their first fight. In the fight, there's 71 total punches thrown. Rocky loses. He gets knocked out. He loses his belt. His trainer dies. And so he starts training with Apollo for a rematch with Clubber Lang. And they run on the beach together. And they have a very long shot of Sylvester Stallone's thighs when he's running. I don't know if you noticed this.
I did. Yeah, there's some really intricate shots of very sweaty thighs in that scene.
You know what's kind of interesting is, so we talked about the first fight, and because of the budget in the first Rocky, you talked about how they brought in extras from a nursing home, and they had nurses, and they had a few angles that they could achieve. And then the second one looks more like a traditional boxing match. It looks like it could potentially be on HBO, more cuts, more flair. But this third one, man, I mean, just the amount of editing, they like the slow motion in this one, the different kind of camera angles, and just the amount of editing. This is a much more thematic kind of edited piece, and I don't know if you feel that way.
No, I 100% feel that way. You can tell that there's a massive difference between Rocky and Rocky 3. I read that Sylvester Stallone really wanted to change the way that Rocky 3 looked because he wanted to show how celebrityism had changed him changed Stallone, and he felt that it would be best to reflect that in Rocky as well, because a lot of the Rocky movies have a lot of biographical scenes and language that from Stallone's life, so he felt that it would be best reflected in Rocky. So they changed the way it looked. They changed a lot of the camera movements. They changed everything about it.
And I gotta tell you, I was watching this first round that they get to, because this is a short fight. This is 3 rounds. And I was watching the first round, and Rocky opens up. He goes 32-0. He lands 32 punches, and Clubber lands nothing. And I remember watching it, Chris, because we've talked about how Apollo opened up with a lot of jabs and a lot of punches in the other two, but this fight takes it to a complete other level of momentum. You have Rocky landing 32 punches, and he's kind of crab walk. It's I don't know if you noticed this on this one, but did you feel like this one felt much more choreographed and rehearsed, but you saw it rather than the first? The first two, maybe it's a testament to Carl Weathers and Sylvester Stallone. But in this one, Rocky crab steps 2 steps, throws a right, crab steps, throws a right, crab steps, throws a right, and essentially goes around the ring doing that. And it's it's a good fight scene, and I 100% bought into Mr. T, Clubber Lang's physicality. When he hits, I felt it. And the score later on, when it's like dun dun, when the score builds later on, and at the end when Rocky knocks out Clubber, it sounds like a plane takes off in the sound effect. It really does.
No, it reminded me a lot of in Raging Bull whenever they used gunshots for whenever Jake LaMotta would hit.
Yeah.
It literally sounds like a machine or almost like an animal every time that Clubber Lang hits him, and you really feel it, especially if you have a nice sound system in your house.
And I mean, I do love the obviously he couldn't do, so in the first one he went the full like 15 rounds. In the second one they almost go to 15 rounds. So in this one you got to make it different. So I like the 3-round aspect of this. I like that the 3 rounds play out in live time, not like the first 2, then skip through everything to 15. But I guess my problem with this fight is it just felt every fight's choreographed, but I kind of saw the choreography in this one. Does that make sense? Am I going crazy here? Did you notice that with this fight?
Yeah, you do notice a little bit that it is choreographed. It doesn't have the same rawness, and it doesn't have the same feel as the first 2 fights, where I feel that maybe Rocky is coming into his own as a boxer, so is becoming his craft now. So he would look a little bit more different while he was throwing, as opposed to in the first 2 films. That also could be reflected upon it, but also, you know, he's going up against Mr. T, James Clubber Lang, and he's the reflection of what Rocky was before he had got the belt.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see why Clubber Lang's boxing would be a little bit different than Rocky's would be. And then after Clubber Lang gets the belt, he then becomes a little bit more relaxed, I guess you'd say. To me, he doesn't seem as aggressive, because he already has the championship belt. So, but you do notice that the fighting techniques, it does look more of like a dance. It's not as raw or as brutal as the first 2 fights, but the sound effects are 10,000 times.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I mean, I guess I just love that. So in the first round, he lands 49 of his 51 jabs. So CompuBox, they did a record of this. And I love that. So Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko, who I love, they're heavyweight boxers, they actually are number 2 with 38 landed in a round. So that was the record at the time. Later on, obviously, but 38 is the record, and Rocky landed 49. And in this first round, it's for a heavyweight fight, it's bonkers. But I mean, once again, it's Rocky, and he's made out of iron, he's made out of steel. And you know what's interesting is, while watching the training montage for this film with him and Apollo, it really sells that he could throw 49 punches or land 49 jabs in one round. So, even though this isn't obviously believable, it never was meant to be, but you can kind of believe that Rocky could do this. Because he got down to 3-point-something% body fat in this. So you think he could punch all day. So you believe it. It's exaggerated, but it's believable, which I like about this franchise.
Yeah, and also to go with Clubber Lang, I mean, he himself looks like he is a machine. So he looks like there is nothing that is going to stop him. I mean, he says multiple times, I can't be beat, I won't be beat.
Yeah.
And I love the dialogue that we use to describe Clubber Lang to build up to him. You know, throughout the whole Rocky franchise, it's always that Rocky can't win, he won't win, and he always overcomes, but he's never up against somebody who says that I'm going to beat you.
Yeah.
You don't hear that up until this point. And, you know, Mick tells him, you know, he's going to knock you in tomorrow. He says, the reason why that he thinks that he's going to lose is because you haven't been hungry since you won that belt. And he confesses to him that all the boxing matches that Rocky has been having up to this point have all been fixed. He's like, they're great fighters, but they never had a chance.
Mm-hmm. Tomato cans. But they're better than tomato cans, but kind of tomato cans, I guess.
I love what Apollo Creed said before the first boxing match. He says, I feel that the strength would have go to the challenger, while experience in the world's hardest head would have to go to Rocky Balboa. Yeah. I know about that.
I really think the NFL should take his head and study it for future helmets. But you know what else I dig though is I was watching this and I kind of wrote some notes. And in this you have all the wide shots, then you have the different angles. Then they brought in the announcers who play much more of a prevalent part in this. And the Steadicam work was different in this as well. Then I really dug the lower angles that they were shooting from the corners, and just the editing I thought was good. And the most powerful thing about the one thing I liked most about this fight was there's a scene where Clubber picks up Rocky and throws him into the corner. And when he did it, they show it in slow motion, but it really sells how strong this guy is. And I really sort of dug that about it. I thought slow motion was used not... You know, some movies just use slow motion. Like, hey, that looks cool, I'm going to use it. I feel like the slow motion in this was played wonderfully with the throw. And also I liked whenever Rocky got knocked down in round, 2, I liked that they played a Jaws type score. Like he was underwater. So like you feel like when he's on the ground, it really seems like he's underwater trying to get his feet back. So that's another credit to the score. And I dug that about it a lot.
Yeah, it's a fantastic score. It really puts you in the almost like a scary mood too, and it really shows that that Rocky is very scared for himself. There's that point where he doesn't think that he can actually do this.
Mm-hmm. And I love though that he does, but you know what? I guess the narrative that they always play on this. Did you kind of believe that Clubber Lang punches himself out? Because in the third round, he's just punching air. He's missing a lot. But his trainer is yelling at him, not 100%, not 100%. And it's basically the mistake Apollo made in the second one. But I feel like the air was getting hurt when he was punching it, Clubber Lang. Because Mr. T, man, like, just his footwork and how strong he got. I mean, he was firing those jabs off beautifully. But yeah, I guess I believe that he tired himself out. I kind of like the narrative about it. And I liked that Rocky was taunting in this one. You know, your mother, like, wait, my mother hits harder than that. Like he's rubbing Mr. T's head. Like he got into that. Like, it's a cool, and do you think that's Rocky final fight strengths? And sorry, I'm talking a lot, but do you think their final fights, the strengths come from the narrative? Like that, they build it around a very distinctive narrative. And I think that's why you like them a lot.
There's a lot of head rubbing and nose bopping, as we know from the other two films, and all these. And also, Rocky gets thrown in the corner of literally every one of the movies.
He gets DJ Jazzy Jeff in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
At the end of the second round, Apollo tells him, "Man, this man is going to beat your head off." And Rocky replies, "Hey, I know what I'm doing." Yeah. And he did. He tired him out so that he could then pop him in the chin and have Clubber Lang go down.
And do you think that's pretty interesting so Apollo goes out of his way to train him. And at the end, Apollo's like, it doesn't take a man to stand there and get his head beat in. But don't you think Rocky would have talked to him? Like, listen, I'm going to try to wear this guy down. Like, you have Apollo screaming. Yeah. Right? Like, would Apollo have caught on to that? Or do you think that's just a narrative decision to kind of add more drama to the scene?
Oh, definitely a narrative decision to add a little bit more to it. Because if he had been like, yo, listen, dude, hey, you know how hard my head is, all right? Take it down a notch. It's like, we're going to talk about this later on, all right? I'm just pump the brakes. All right, Apollo? Sheesh.
Get the eye of the tiger. They said get the eye of the tiger in this one. Oh, I love it. And he's just a man.
Well, before their first match, Clubber Lang, man, he's on fire the entire time. Oh. I don't know if you caught this, but before they even fight for the first time, whenever Clubber is taunting Rocky in between, in the hallway, he's like, "I'll beat you right now." He takes one of the police officers and throws him over the banister to get to Rocky. He is no joke. Mr. T,
that extra got destroyed.
Mr. T was no slouch. I mean, he has a whole history in football and martial arts before he even started working in movies. He was voted the second most, was the meanest bouncer in America at the time. And he was also, in this interview shortly after making this movie for Playboy, he said, "I'm the best bodyguard because I'll take a bullet, I'll take a stab wound, I'll take a hit upside the head. I'm a kamikaze pilot. The president got shot because his men relaxed," referring to whenever Reagan got shot. So
wow.
He is an intimidating man. And also, just some little behind the scenes facts. Obviously Mr. T was very proud of this movie because it showcased him really well. And he's a very proud and outspoken mama's boy. He then brought his mother to the premiere of this movie. His mom, after seeing the scene where Clubber Lang is talking to Adrian, saying, hey woman, why don't you go to my apartment tonight? I'll show you what a man's like." Mr. T's mother said, "I did not raise you to talk to a woman like that." And she got up and left.
Yeah, I love that fact. I love that.
But yeah, this end fight scene, this final fight is definitely the most sweatiest, greasiest fight in Rocky history up to this point.
I mean, Mr. T, he's baby oiled in this one. What can I tell you?
Oh my God. But before The Rock, we had Mr. T.
That's right.
Keeping baby oil in business since
whenever this movie was made, since '82.
Well, after the fight, Adrian says, "Are you all right?" Rocky says, "Yeah, never better."
I guess that's the one thing that gets to me because so they did a CompuBox of all these all the strikes in this, and at the end of this, so let's see, I'm just looking at my stats here real quick. So towards the end, Clubber throws 92 consecutive punches, sending poor Rocky falling like a fish out of water. and then he's knocked down twice later. So, and then like the ref didn't even count one. So, like he threw 92 consecutive punches, and then Rocky goes never better. I guess that's, I mean, obviously this is an Earth that this movie takes place on. Skulls in this movie are not human skulls. So I guess we can't look at them in terms of, because our heads would be jelly, Chris.
Quite literally. You could just, you couldn't even put a hat on.
Chris Jellyfish, Chris Jelly Kelly. I missed him. I missed a good one there. But no, I don't know. I like that. Do you think that's the only way he could have beaten Clubber Lang, though, is to get him mad and punch him out? Could he knock out Clubber Lang like he did Apollo? No?
I don't think so. I don't think he'd be, the only thing he might be able to get him to do is if he gets him so worked up, if Rocky gets Clubber so worked up that he can get him to maybe miss him while he throws a punch, and then Rocky could then give him another smack right in the jaw, and then he might be able to do something with that. But I don't think he'd be, not physically, I don't think he'd be able to beat him.
And then so the final barrage, according to CompuBox, so it's like this. Total punches thrown landed. So Rocky throws 76, he throws 82 punches, lands 76 of them. That's a 93% accuracy. So he lands 40 out of 45 power punches, and he lands 19 out of 20 jabs, and he lands 17 for 17 body shots in this final salvo.
That is an extreme accuracy.
Do you not wish that at the end of these fights, though, Rocky just can't lift his arms? Would that make you like? So people are like, Rocky won, and he's like, guys, I gotta go barf.
I'm gonna be in the bathroom for the next hour.
Yeah, I guess you can't have that, and that's all the training for it. But that's an insane final barrage that he unleashes on Clubber Lang.
That's over 90% accuracy, which is that's in the history books. There's no way anything else.
What do you think? Okay, you're a boxer in Rocky's world, and I guess you fight according to the logic of this Earth, not Rocky's Earth, and he just breaks all the stats. What are you thinking, Chris Kelly?
I am terrified that somebody like this actually exists.
You're Chris Jelly Kelly. You're a heavyweight boxer, and you're not a tomato can, so you haven't been up against Rocky yet. You're actually a pretty good boxer. You've been fighting in the fringes overseas. Basically, what everyone's saying is it's you and Clubber that are the best, but Rocky's fighting these tomato cans. You see this fight, and you see what happens with the final barrage of over 80-some punches. What are your thoughts, Chris Jelly Kelly? I mean, you might have the next fight, so what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I should probably pick a new career. He's gonna give me a new nickname.
That's the toughest thing about Rocky, though, is no matter how many times, well, except for one of the fights, but he gets hit so, like, that'd be deflating. You hit him with everything, and he's still around taunting you. That's got to be demoralization. And I don't know. It's just interesting.
If I was Clubber, my first thought would be like, where was this shit during the first match?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come on, you were. I popped you like a couple of times. You were down.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? What happened? Some little interesting notes. Whenever you see Mr. T, I keep calling him Mr. T, but when you see Clubber and he pushes Apollo and says, "Don't turn your back on me," before they start the match, that apparently was an unscripted altercation. That from what I read, that he did not get along with Mr. T at all during filming. So whenever they were together, he really pushed him and was like, "Don't turn your back on me."
Wow. Wow.
From what I've read, there's a couple of historical moments in Rocky where people just don't get along with Carl Weathers. I'm not sure what it is about that guy, but he seems like a lovable guy to me. But apparently a lot of the other actors could not get along with him.
I mean, I think you're in a boxing movie. You're returning. You're Apollo Creed. You get into character. Apollo, like Carl Weathers in these movies was jacked beyond jacked. So he's just pumped up. He loves his character. He's in the moment. He knows this franchise. Maybe he's trying to establish some alpha kind of type of stuff. So I mean, it's got to be something like that. I mean, you just get competitive. Like, if you ever play football or any of that, just casual on a soccer field, people get real people become the toughest people imaginable that you've ever met. And you're like, dude, this is ultimate frisbee. So, I can imagine that there's just a little bit of that, right? Where and they still seem friends, Carl Weathers. Like, Carl Weathers still speaks fondly of Rocky and all that. So, I just think, just emotions get going. I mean,
that's what I thought. I thought maybe it was because, maybe the age difference a little bit, or maybe because Mr. T was just establishing himself at this point as becoming an actor, and then maybe he just didn't get along with Carl Weathers. I read that there was a lot of times on set that he just could not get along with him, but it could also be because Mr. T was supposed to be this more aggressive character, so he stayed in that way for a while, and then it just kind of came out of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I probably nothing malicious, but yeah, you just get into it. You get into these moments. I could see it happening, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see it.
I wouldn't want to be in the middle of it.
No, God, no, I could not. But Mr. T is not exactly a big guy. So as we all know, Mark Hoffmeyer is about 6'3". Mr. T is about 5'10".
Oh wow,
that's not exactly that's a good bit of height difference.
But he's built like a tank. I'm built like see, not a tank. Not a tank. He's an Escalade. I'm not that.
Not quite a Yuga, but not quite a Honda Accord.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good bouncer height, because I bounced for years too, but I was too tall and I pulled out my back trying to, sometimes people get stuck behind the dart machine after a really rigorous fight, and I'd have to squish them out of there, and I just pull my back. I would have preferred to be like a 5'10" bouncer. Like a shark in the water. And which reminds me of the shark in the water. I mean, I love how at the end, the score, it's like by Bill Conti. It's kind of not Jaws-esque, but when a punch lands, dun dun, like they kind of dun, like whenever the final punches at the end land, it sounds like, I don't know. Did you notice that when the score kicks in the third round? Because the first two, there's not much score. The score doesn't build until the third round. And the second round is when it starts. That's when Rocky gets knocked down. But in the third, man, I love it. Like, it becomes almost Jaws-esque during those punches.
It definitely, like I said earlier, it really makes you think that this is more of like an animalistic fight at this point. And even with the sound effects, with the punches sounding like they are bullets coming out of guns, and you hear the music and it sounds like it's Jaws, and you're just like, it really puts you into like a horror film setting. And then you have Mr. T growling at him, and it's just, oh man, they really get into it.
I'm pretty sure I heard a tiger roar during one of these punches. I really am.
I did a lot of research trying to find that. I couldn't find anything to support that, because I thought the same exact thing too. But I would not be surprised if they used a lion roar for Clubber Lang, and they had that underlaying with his yelling. I mean, it just sounds so. It's just so much in your face. Yeah.
And then at the end, when Clubber gets knocked out and an airplane a jet takes off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful. I love it. I like how they built. It shows that these people making it understand emotion. Like we said, Sylvester Stallone, he didn't know what to do with this movie. So he just started making it more about boxing than his character and training. And you can kind of tell, we're going to talk about the fourth one later with all the montages. But they still do a good job narratively with this, and I think, where would you rank these fights so far? 1, 2, and 3. Where would you rank them?
I would put 3 behind 2. I think the Rocky 4 fight is probably my personal favorite. But I think that the Rocky 1 fight is probably the best. It's more, I think we discussed this earlier, it's more raw. And you feel more like you're watching a real boxing match. I think that one would be 1. But
we'll just do the 3 we've talked about. I guess I would do 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think I would definitely agree with that. I mean, they're all 5-star in my opinion. But they're equal. They all have their own different. I mean, and to go along with that, this was not. This was supposed to be the final Rocky film. This was not meant to have another sequel after it. Sylvester Stallone said that he had a different vision for Rocky 3 back in the 1979 interview that he did with Roger Ebert. I got this information from IMDb, but he said originally this was supposed to be the final Rocky film, where he said that he contemplated having Rocky's last fight in the Colosseum in Rome, going so far as to tell Ebert that he wanted to arrange and film a real audience with Pope John Paul II in character as Rocky to include with the movie. And a few years later, he was still debating on how Rocky 3 would end, and Ebert told him that he thinks that Rocky should die.
Just in the ring? gets his head punched off, and it lands in Adrian's lap.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Stallone added that after they made this movie, he said that there will never be a Rocky 4.
And then a truck with $100 bills came and dumped it on his driveway.
Yeah, that reminds me of the Simpsons skit whenever he says, "But Krusty, why would you do this?" He's like, "They pulled a dump truck full of money to my house. I'm only a man."
I'd take it.
I would too, and it turned out to be the most successful out of all of them.
I'll be on
Not
Rocky
to say that this one's any slouch. I mean, this made. Oof.
I'll be on Rocky 40 by now.
Oh my God! Still cranking them out. They've been doing them from beyond the grave. I'd be looking into making the hieroglyphic of myself. I mean, sorry.
I'd film 2 a year, Chris Kelly. So I would just basically Rocky. He joins the Kumite. Rocky goes to Thailand. Rocky fights a sumo. Just all these different. I would make it a Jean-Claude Van Damme film over and over, and I'd get to about Rocky 40.
I would try to incorporate Benicio del Toro as like his brother.
Oh my gosh.
And then you could make Benicio del Toro the Rocky franchise continuing.
Oh my. And then I'd have him.
In the late 90s, early 2000s, it would have worked, I'm telling you.
Well, get this. After Rocky 20, a nuclear destruction bomb. A bomb destroys the world. And then it becomes Rocky Road, where he becomes a Mad Max type guy fighting people in Thunderdome.
Ooh, I like that.
Not Fury Road, Rocky Road, Mad Max, Rocky Road. So stupid. All right, we better get out of here, man. Final thoughts about this Rocky 3 fight? Or anything else you got?
I just wanted to add a few.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say a couple of things really quick. The Rocky and Thunderlips fight that happens as weight for charity was based on the Chuck Wepner and Andre the Giant boxing match. If you ever get a chance to watch it, you can watch it on YouTube. It's very similar, to say the least. And
Muhammad Ali fought a guy in Japan, and he got his legs kicked so bad that he got blood clots in his legs that he had to get taken care of.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so they had several of those shoot fights, and I love it. And Hogan got fired from the WWE for this. He said
he did, and then he got hired by Vincent's son to come back a couple of years later.
Thunderlips.
And then he brought Mr. T with him too. And Mr. T was actually his tag out partner in the first WrestleMania.
Oh, those were huge, man. 80,000 people in auditoriums.
I don't think people can really grasp that nowadays. Is that how big these things really were? I remember whenever it was WrestleMania. I think it was like WrestleMania 4 or 5. It was everywhere. People that didn't even care about wrestling were buying this on pay-per-view for like $100. It was nuts.
I mean, it was a spectacle, right? People just kind of it became like the Super Bowl almost.
It was like the Super Bowl of wrestling. It was. I mean, they were massive. They were all over the. Another quick little thing before we call it a day on this. According to Stallone, he after the boxing match, he envisioned Clubber Lang becoming a born again Christian
and an announcer, right? A fight call, fight. Yeah, I like that. I mean, he can talk. He's got he can come up with some great stuff. I'd love to hear his announcing.
Yeah, he's a great character. I think that if they had done a little spin-off with him briefly, I think it would have worked for maybe a little bit of time. That to have him being still boxing, but then eventually, drifting off, and then they could have done a nice little end credit thing saying that he became a born again Christian, and blah blah blah.
I don't know if you remember this, but in the Undisputed series, so the first Undisputed is Wesley Snipes versus Ving Rhames. And then the second one, they follow on the guy who lost, which was Ving Rhames, and then he goes and fights another guy. And then that guy who loses, he gets another movie. I don't know if you knew that, but the loser gets a movie in the Undisputed films. And there's 4 of them now, and they're a lot of fun with Scott Adkins.
So who's losing?
So like Michael Jai White fought... What's the Undisputed 2? Let me type this in real quick. I know we're going long, but I just want people to hear this. Undisputed 2, I believe, was... Let me look this up. Yeah, Michael Jai White fought Scott Adkins in that. And then Scott Adkins lost. And then the third one is called Undisputed 3, Boyka, which is his character from the second one. So Michael Jai White took over for Ving Rhames, and then he won in the second one. The guy who lost, Scott Adkins, gets a movie. It's cool, man. It's a fun premise to do, and that goes exactly like you said. I'd love a Clubber Lang movie. I would have loved a Drago movie after they both lost.
Yeah, that would have been really cool as well. I would like to have seen like little spin-offs of these films. Maybe not an entire movie, but at least a half hour or 45 minutes short. I think fine.
add it to the. Well, I guess I can't do it now. Chris, we'll just get you in shape and we can film it.
A deal.
All right, cool. Hey, well, thank you for joining me, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for Chris Kelly, I'm not going to say it. This is Final Fights. We'll see you next week.